our second session of, yep, we're live. Okay, our second session of leadership lessons learned on the Incan Trail. I want to congratulate those of you that are committed and playing into all 5 of these, even if you're watching them later online. If you live far from me, I feel like this connects us all with kind of a unified message and purpose and thought process. And I know that when you're thinking about things that you heard here, they show up in your life in other places. You know, you'll hear the same message in a different place. Whenever that happens, I'm always like, pay attention, pay attention. I'm trying to be told something, you know, just pay attention to the things happening around you. Okay, so last week we kind of finished when we were talking. Our last slide was, let me turn our slides on here. Was about the anticipation and worry about something and how it will all unfold, or whether you can do it, takes far more energy than the actual challenge. So that's going to lead me to my next slide, which is God is never going to let you grab the next vine until you let go of the first vine you're holding on to. Sorry, I'm right your way. So he will never, you'll never get to the next vine until you let go of the first vine that you're holding on to. And my lesson is you're never going to feel completely ready for the next thing, but you'll be more than ready to leave the last thing, which is kind of, it can be a confusing sentence, but you're not ready for the next vine, but you're more than ready to leave this vine, right? Have you ever been there in some way in your life? This is driving me crazy. It's right in my eyeballs. I'm still going to move over further. Okay. So let's go to the next slide, Jen. And I'm going to have you guys actually read this slide out loud with me who are here. I know if you're watching online, it's backwards, so just bear with me. I'll read it so that you can hear it. But this book, I'm in love with this book. It's called You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. It's so good. I mean, it's so good. So I'm going to have you read with me this quote on the top to start with. Actually, let's just read the whole thing. Ready? So when you make a no-nonsense decision, you sign up fully and keep moving toward your goal, regardless of what's flung in your path. And stuff will most definitely get flung, which is why making the decision is so critical. You can beep if you want to. This sheet is not for sissies. The moment it gets hard or expensive or puts you at risk of looking like a moron, if you haven't made the decision, you'll quit. If it wasn't uncomfortable, everyone would be out there all in love with their fabulous lives. So often we pretend we've made a decision when what we've really done is signed up to try until it gets too uncomfortable. If you made the decision that you are going to reach your goals, you would do whatever it took. If you merely wanted to, but hadn't made the firm decision to, you'd roll over and begin convincing yourself that your life is fine just the way it is. Isn't that powerful? So this especially I love. So often we pretend we've made a decision. I'm going to do that. But when what we've really done is signed up to try until it gets too uncomfortable, I was like, oh, ouch. That one kind of hit. So how do you know that you haven't made a decision? It's that you're justifying. Are you currently justifying? Are you making things okay? Are you tolerating mediocrity in any area of your life? As Callie Brigham said on our 6-Figure Women training last week, the more you tolerate, the less you will make. The less you tolerate, the more you will make. Meaning, stop tolerating. Stop tolerating mediocrity. Stop tolerating just average. And the journey, the adventure, the challenge, it's what it's all about. Not the suffocating safety of doing what you know you can do. Hiram Bingham is the guy who discovered Machu Picchu. Okay, he discovered it completely on accident. He was looking for the lost city of Atlantis, and instead he discovered this ancient fortress. But I would say to all of you, go into the jungle and see what you can find. You may be looking for one thing from your Mary Kay business and then you get something else from it. You don't know. Just go in the jungle and look around. But don't just stand and look at the jungle and be like, that's a pretty jungle, right? Also, you've got to do the thing you fear in little doses. So it's like an inoculation. It's like a vaccine. Little tiny bits of a disease do not make you sick. They actually prevent you from getting sick. So you have to do this in small steps. And one thing that I want you to do right now as an exercise is in your notes, I want you to write the thing you fear in your Mary Kay business most. What just kind of terrifies you, if you're being honest? What are you scared of? Does anyone have one they would share? What are you scared of?
Rejection.
Rejection?
Yeah.
Okay, people saying no. What else? Failing? Absolutely. What else? Not doing it perfectly. Okay, what else?
Not just being too pushy.
Okay, yeah, fear of being too pushy or people thinking, really kind of a fear of what other people think of you.
Right.
At the core of that one. Yep. What else?
Letting other people down.
Okay, letting other people down. What else?
Getting all the bracelets.
Not getting all the bracelets. That's a legit fear, especially when they're so cute, right? But I think there is something to starting a challenge like that. You're like, do I even do it in July? Because what if I can't do it in August? What if I can't do it in September? What if I miss a month? You know, there is a fear to like starting out on something where it's like, can I really be that consistent for a whole year? So I think that's really legit for sure. No one else is afraid of just contacting people?
That's part of rejection.
Part of rejection. That's true. Okay. So next, what I want you to write underneath that is this. What is the worst thing that could happen if you did that thing that you fear? What is do the worst case scenario? What's the worst thing that could happen? So tell me what's the worst thing if it's not too personal. What's the worst thing that could happen with some of yours? Yes.
Mine would be that I just wouldn't sell Mary Kay anymore.
Okay, that you just wouldn't sell Mary Kay anymore. Great. Yes, Jennifer.
Listening to my father's "I told you so."
Okay, so having someone who told you you couldn't do it, then say, I told you you can do it. What were you thinking? Yes. Okay. Especially someone whose opinion you value highly. Yes. Sarah?
So one of my fears is rejection. Of course, I think everybody's a little bit afraid of that. But then if you like put yourself out there and you do it, I think really one of my fears is success.
I agree.
Because then what happens?
Right. Then what if I don't stay there? Or what if, right? Like, what if I'm really wildly successful and then people talk about me because I am?
I'm pretty sure people are already
I'm pretty sure they are too, but it's okay. Right? But yes, I agree. I think we say we fear failure, and I think we do. But more than that, I think we fear being wildly successful. Yeah. What else would be the worst thing?
People run the other way and
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe somebody does have a negative response to you, right? And it feels like that relationship has changed a little bit, right? Here's what I would say. And this is Joel, who led our expedition in Peru. His favorite quote, and I want you to write this down because I loved it and it's short, but it says, "The cave you fear to enter, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you wish to seek. The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you wish to seek. So I'm going to take it back to kind of our slide, but this whole thought, but I'm going to take it back to my journey to Peru and how we ended up being there. There were a lot of different steps between my quiet time when God said, Pichu and hike the Incan trails with summit leaders, and the moment in the hotel when Ryan looked at me and said, what are we doing here? Like, there were a lot of steps along the way. And there were many times along that timeline when I wondered if we could do it or if we should do it. And even occasionally I wondered if I had really heard God, like, are you sure you said to do this? Are you positive that this is what we should do, right? There were critical words from people that I care about who didn't think we should be going at that time, shouldn't be leaving our kids. I mean, there were lots of unsolicited comments about you could die, you know, just lots of things, right? Which you could, but I'm just saying, like, there was a lot of pushback from that. And this is true in any pursuit of any dream you have, which leads me to my next slide. And that is to attack your dreams and then take concrete steps to make them come true. So instead of wasting hours and days and years trying to figure out your next perfect move, just do something already, right? Just do it. Get out of your head and take action, which is right when Gretchen quit listening to my recording because I told her to do it right away, and then she just stopped listening and didn't listen to the rest of it because she went to make contacts and finished her sales goal, which is awesome. But you don't have to know exactly where this is going to take you. You just need to start. This is important. Start with the one thing that feels like the door's open a crack. You know what I mean? Just look for the door that's open a little tiny crack, and then like push it open and walk in, and keep doing that. Because once you get in that room, then there will be another door and it'll be like open a little tiny crack. So maybe it's finishing Consistency Club. You know, maybe it's earning your bracelet. Maybe it's doing It Factor for the first time. Maybe it's doing book 10 by the 5th for the first time. Maybe it's being a star for the first time. Whatever the door, it's like, I might be able to do that. You know, push that door open a little further and explore it and kind of go there, okay? Every single person who was on our trip to Peru had a story about how they had come to be in Peru in June of 2017. And every single story started with a very small step. And as we told each other our stories, as we walked and walked and walked for 4 days and walked, we had a lot of time to talk, every story started with a sentence like this. I Googled it. I got on YouTube and watched a video about it. I researched it. I called someone and asked questions. I priced the flights. I blocked it out in my calendar. Like, it was just a one little tiny step. And so I want to say to you, Mary Kay, yes, achieving the goal of earning a prize is fun and it's a great part of our business. But the purpose of our business is that this is a vehicle that allows you to make income, that allows you to live out other dreams you have. So whatever that other dream is, I want you to be like, I've always wanted to do that or have that or see that show or hear that concert. I wonder if they're in concert near me. And Google it and just see. And then say, well, I wonder how much the tickets would be. And then figure out the price. And then say, well, if I could sell $600, I could pay for those tickets to that concert, right? But move your dream from a thought to an action step. On just a purely hiking the Incan Trail note, this is kind of what the trail looked like. So this is actually Joel and his dad. When we were going uphill, all of it was these paving stones, and they were like all different widths and heights. Some of them were like, you had to really lift high, your leg high, maybe like this tall, and then some were really short. And they taught us how to climb up these where you use your poles to take weight off of your legs. So you were actually like pushing yourself up as you went so that your legs didn't get so tired as you went up, because it was like doing that for like 4 hours. And then sometimes going down that, but you had to really concentrate so that you didn't fall and hurt yourself. Okay. Die, right. Yes. My last thought in this kind of slide is just that when you signed your beauty consultant agreement, you forfeited the right to say I can't afford it to any dream. And if you don't have the money to make your dream come true, it's simply because you're deciding that you don't want to do the work to earn that money. And so I'm going to very boldly say to you, stop being a victim. You no longer have that option. If you are a Mary Kay consultant, and for heaven's sakes, if you're a sales director, and you are willing to do the work, you can do anything you want to using Mary Kay as a vehicle to pay for it. Now, will it be comfortable? No. Will it be easy? No. Will it be simple? Yes. Right? But there's a big difference between easy and simple. This quote is from a book I'm reading right now. It says, remember that you are deprived of nothing except by your own decisions. I was like, oh gosh. Remember that you are deprived of nothing except by your own decisions. So on your paper, I'm going to give you a minute for this also. I want you to write down the first dream that comes to your mind that you'd love to see come true in your life. Don't let yourself think no, just write it down. And then I want you to write one action step that you could take. Simple, small action step. And then I'm going to go to the next slide then. I'm going to read this one out loud to you. It's like story time when you were in grade school. Didn't you love story time? Even after lunch in first grade, Mrs. Grant George would read like Ramona Quimby, you know, you come in and she'd turn the lights off. Anyhow, okay. Deciding, I want you to really listen, like with all of your heart and soul. I want you to hear what she's saying in this quote. Deciding that you can't have something you need or want instantly cuts you off from the flow of manifesting it. So if you decide that you can't have that thing, you instantly are cut off from the flow of making it happen, as well as distances you from the part that lit you up about it in the first place. Once you think I can't, God is like, alrighty then, no assistance needed here. See you later. Even if you have no idea how it's going to happen, stay open to the possibility of solutions presenting themselves, and you may be surprised by what you can create and how much help you can get. Decide you must have it. Trust that it's available to you. Do everything you can to figure out a way to make it happen, and trust that how it's going to happen will be revealed. Okay, so I have a story about this that I'm working on. So it's a process story. We haven't finished this yet, but the story's not over. We've wanted to finish our basement since we moved into our house 11 years ago. And every time we've come to a place where we're like, yes, let's do it. You know, it's like stupid stuff happens, or we just kind of decide we're not going to do it right then, or for whatever reason, we've just never done it. I've hated our basement. It drives me crazy. It's gross. I don't want to be down there. The kids go down there and make a mess, but I would love for it to be like a space that is nice. Okay. So I've been thinking about this quote, and I've been thinking, I can't have it. We can't afford it. I've been affirming that for 11 years. And finally, as I've been reading this book, I'm like, well, stop saying that. Why are you saying that? Right? Like, why am I speaking that because then it's cutting off any possibility of that happening on its own. So I've just started with my visualization, visualizing the basement being finished. I have no idea how. I don't know. Nothing really has changed. Like, right? Nothing has changed except for me thinking about the basement being finished. So kind of a fluke, I called a guy because the light, our outside light by our garage wasn't working. And I was like, we need to get this fixed. So he referred me to somebody who could do like a smaller job on this light. And long story short, this guy can do all of the wiring in our basement for not very much money. We like got it priced. I'm like, okay, well, let's do that. We can do that. Well, then like all these doors keep opening. It's so crazy. Ryan's been helping his grandfather with some rental properties, and he gave us this Menards gift card for like $1,000. It's like a whatever. So we're like, okay, well, we can get the supplies for the wiring and we can get this. So then we're going to do that. And so then I said to Ryan, well, what's the next thing? Like, what's the next step? And it's like, I'm not kidding. I mean, our basement's going to be finished. I have no idea exactly when, but I just can tell that just because I changed my mindset about it, like all of a sudden there's money available to do that. And then the person who needs to do it is right there. And then Grandpa gives us the gift card. And I'm just saying, like, what are we doing? Like, why are we cutting ourselves off from things that we want, right? It's just a shift in your brain. It's not like a huge life-altering thing. It's just what I'm thinking about and what I'm open to receiving. Sounds a little hokey, but it's true, okay? So I will say that this trip of Machu Picchu never would have happened without my Mary Kay income. Some Christmas presents that my mom bought us, like the pants and the bags and all of our gear, she bought some of that. But there's no way we could have afforded the flights, the registration, the gear we needed. Like my business literally allowed this dream to come true. And our fantasies are our realities in an excuse-free world. That's what Jen Sincero says. Our fantasies are our realities in an excuse-free world. So back to Peru. We go to sleep. We have all of our stuff fit into our very small blue bag. We have our day packs ready to go. We get up super early on Tuesday morning. We head out for the trail on a bus. We travel for hours through areas of crazy poverty. Houses with no screens, no windows, dirt floors, tin roofs, livestock living in the living room, stray dogs roaming the streets that are full of trash. At times, we were on a dirt road in this huge bus that was barely wide enough for our bus. And if we met another vehicle on this road, then one of them would have to back up until the other one could pass. And then as we drove, I realized this. We face very little real resistance in building our businesses. And we have no real reason to not be successful, which leads to my next slide, which is we have no real excuses. The obstacles that we face, you guys, are mostly in our minds, 99.9%. A lack of belief in ourselves, an unwillingness to work when we don't feel like it, the need for everyone's approval to be able to make progress and pursue something. These are not real. None of them are sitting in front of you on a table, right? They're not real. They're things you've created in your head. We live in the United States of America. Every time I travel to another country, I return so grateful, like so grateful. When we flip on a light switch, guess what happens? The lights go on, right? Every time they go on. It's not like certain days the power doesn't work, which happens all the time in Peru, right? We have indoor plumbing that works all the time. Like you can go in your bathroom, in your house, go to the bathroom in the toilet and flush it, and it goes down every time. Well, I mean, unless it's broken, but then you call someone and they come and fix it. But like, it's not a problem with the greater sewer system, right? I'm just saying, don't take that for granted. We can turn on the tap, like on water on the tap, and water comes out. And even more unbelievable, we can put a glass of water under that tap and we can drink it right from that tap without worrying about getting sick or getting a disease. We don't have one vehicle per family. We have 2 or 3 or sometimes even 4. We have grocery stores that are filled with food, right? And like Joelle was telling us that if there was Dr. Pepper on the shelf, it was like a mad dash for every missionary in Peru to get it. But like then it wouldn't be there again for 7 months. I mean, we have stores full of food, multiple stores that we can go to that are full of food, right? We have banks where our money is safe. And we have a currency that maintains its value every day. It doesn't change every single day. And our homes are full of multiple computers, TVs, devices. And we carry around $1,000 cell phones like it's a God-given right. I'm not kidding. I mean, for real. Like if we don't have it, well, right? I mean, what in the world? We have Wi-Fi that is fast and reliable. Okay, everyone does except for my mom's house in Sandwich, Illinois, but everywhere else. But don't take these things for granted. And don't live in an entitled delusion that you face challenges that are legitimately stopping you from growing your business, because you do not. So Joel actually lived in Peru for 3 years, and he built a church. They planted a church there, and he also started a coffee shop. So he opened a coffee shop. And when I asked why they left after those 3 years, he said they just got exhausted by the day-to-day struggle that is life in a developing country. And so I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, what are the struggles? What are you talking about? And he said, well, every Friday, he would go to the bank to get change for the coffee shop. And sometimes he would wait in line for 3 hours, and then the bank would just unexpectedly close because the currency would crash, and so then you couldn't get any change. He talked about the challenges of getting food supplies that consistently would run his coffee shop, like they couldn't get flour sometimes. And then the constant protests in the streets that would stop all traffic and businesses for days at a time. So any of us who thinks we have a legitimate reason why we cannot build a successful business needs to go and live in a developing country for a few years. Like, we do not have legitimate excuses. We live in a country where women have fairly equal access to educational, social, and leadership opportunities, which even in and of itself, that is not normal anywhere else in the world, right? We can drive cars as women. We can vote. We can live on our own. We can get loans at banks. We can travel the world. I can go get on a plane and go anywhere I want to in this world because I have a passport that is from the United States. We can dress how we choose. We don't have to cover our faces and our heads. Don't take this for granted. Please, I get goosebumps. I have goosebumps all over my body right now. Don't take this for granted. And even in our business, you guys, we have so many things to be grateful for. When we place an order for products, they're delivered to us within days. We get to sell those products for 50% more than what we bought them for. What in the world? There is no business that has that margin of profit. There is not. You ask any business owner, they're not making 50% on their sales of a product, right? And we're selling them at a price point that is fair and even reasonable for our customers for the quality of the product. We have technology at our fingertips. I can do on my phone in 5 seconds what used to take me at least an hour on a computer. Think about our preferred customer program. We can enter people's names and addresses, and then some machine somewhere prints all these magazines, and then we don't even touch it, but they show up at our customers' houses. That's amazing, right? And we represent a company that is spending millions of dollars in research and development, and they're bringing out new cutting-edge products like our vitamin C squares and technology for us. They're providing it for us. We don't even have to create it. All business owners, if they want a website, they have to go build it. We just have it. We don't have to be to work at a certain time every day, 5 days a week. And we don't have to stay until someone tells us to leave. We do not have any real excuses. Do you agree? Okay. I'm going to change the total. Oh, this is a picture. of the road. So this van came up and they had to back all the way back up so we could go through. We had a bigger bus, so people backed up when they saw us coming, which was awesome. These are just some pictures of the homes that we passed. So you can go ahead and flip it in. This is a totally different thought process, so I'm leaving behind the other one. But this is another lesson I learned. And this is an interesting one, but what your body looks like doesn't matter. How well you take care of it matters a great deal. This was such an interesting thought to me. I noticed on this trip that none of the people, with the exception of the 20-year-old college athlete boy, really fit the model ideal of what a body should look like according to our magazines and our media, right? Like no one was 6 foot tall and weighed 120 pounds. Now, this sounds a little odd to think that this is what I was thinking about while I was hiking this trail, but it really did come to my mind a lot. Like everyone looked different. Like some were really lean and wiry, some were kind of soft and curvy, but almost everyone, I would say everyone, made their physical health a regular top priority in their lives. And Jeff Olson in the book, The Slight Edge, writes, life means your health. The healthier you are, the more life you experience. Better health not only lets you live out all of the days of a longer life, it lets you live more life in each and every one of those days. Poor health is like a cloudy, smoggy day. It cuts off the sunlight. Let your health get bad enough and you lose your life altogether. And this trip proved that statement so true, like true times 10. There's no way we could have seen the sights we saw, had the shared experience that we had, Ryan and I, if taking care of our bodies was not a top priority. And I believe that if your motivation for taking care of your body is strictly to look better, then any changes you make will be very short term. You will not sustain it. You will not stick with it. If, however, your motivation is to live more and to be more and to be able to do more, like you will find the exercise that fits your needs. You will eat the foods that give you life, and you will make it a priority in your life and your leadership. I would just say about your body, cherish it, challenge it, treat it well, and it will take you places you never imagined you could go. And what in the world does this have to do with Mary Kay? Everything. So I realized about 2 months ago how many negative thoughts were constantly plaguing me about my body. And I have pretty ridiculously good self-esteem. It's kind of annoying, even a little, okay? But you know how you get like, my butt is flat, my legs look old, like you just start saying ridiculous things to yourself. I'm the only one that does this? No, okay. I decided enough is enough. I am going to fight back against this ridiculous thought process that isn't serving me at all. And it's undermining my self-confidence. And so I added this phrase to my affirmations. It says, when I look in the mirror, I see a strong, healthy, almost 40-year-old woman who treats her body and thinks of her body with love and respect. So it doesn't say like, my body looks a certain way. It just says, I love my body. Like, I'm so grateful for my body. I'm so grateful it's healthy. I'm so grateful it's strong. I'm so grateful, you know, and I even added this month to my affirmations because I had some back issues at the beginning of July. My core muscles are getting stronger and stronger every day. My back is feeling better. I'm able to move and do anything and everything I want to do in my life, right? But it has helped me tremendously just adding that little phrase to my affirmations. It reminds me twice a day to love my body, simply because it's healthy, and to not waste precious time and energy wishing for an ideal that I never had and I never will. Guys, about 0.0002% of our population will actually ever look like a model, ever, right? So when when we're comparing ourselves with that, it's ridiculous, number one. But two, I think when you love something, you take care of it. And that is my goal. I want to take care of my body so that I can fulfill God's calling on my life. I also will say with Mary Kay that you need a high level of energy to build a strong Mary Kay business. And you need an uncommon level of self-confidence. And health gives you that. If you're standing in front of people and you're thinking, my pants are too tight, my stomach is hanging over my pants, I feel fat today, you're not giving off positive energy to the people who are there, right? You're not fully focused on them. You're actually being very selfish because you're just thinking about you. So I would say like a certain health, okay, you need an uncommon level of self-confidence. Health gives you self-confidence. And a certain size or a certain shape butt does not give you self-confidence. I've seen women of all shapes and sizes be very successful in Mary Kay. What made the difference is they were taking care of themselves and they felt confident about the way they looked and the way God created them. So stop wasting time critiquing yourself and start spending more time making choices that honor your body so you can live and you can lead all out. Which leads me to my next lesson. And that is that before you can lead others well, you have to lead yourself well. So as Dr. Nathan Baxter says, you lead self, then you lead others. And this quote up here says, a message to leaders. The first person you lead is you. You earn the right to lead others when they see you lead your own life well. So I did the Special Forces group in the spring, and I'm doing it again for my future area. So on August 1st, I will have the flyer ready for you. It has all of the dates, but it will be a 6-week class. There will be 6 people who will be accepted into the program, and we'll have 6 sessions that we'll work through. But one of the themes that we covered this spring with the first graduating class was this: you have to lead yourself first and then you can lead others. And our number one resource as leaders is energy. I want you to write that down. Your number one resource as a leader is energy. It's actually emotional energy more than physical energy. And creating growth in a business, which is what you want to do. So creating new customers, creating new sales, creating new team members, creating anything new requires high levels of energy. Has anyone had a baby? Like when you create, like when your body creates something inside of you, you're exhausted. Like a level of exhaustion I've never felt in my life before, right? Because it's it takes energy to create something new, okay? And leaders, we create growth. It's what we do. We see a lack or a problem or an unreached destination, and we enroll people, and we solve, and we travel, and we travel the distance to get to that destination. And this creation of growth and progress takes a great deal of energy. And if you give and give and give and give and you don't receive, you'll wind up depleted, angry, in pain, resentful, depressed, and sick. I see so many women with autoimmune diseases like fibromyalgia and other things like that, where I just believe it's because for years and years and years and years, they've taken care of everyone else first. And in the end, your body just starts to break down. And so you've really got to take care of you first. And you've got to give to yourself out of love and not guilt or have to or I should, but give to yourself because you love and you respect yourself. So I'm going to go through these areas of self-leadership, and I want you to write them all down. And then I'm going to have you circle the 1 or 2 areas that you need to address right away. No more than 2. Any more than 2. You may have to work on all these areas, please be clear. But you've got to pick 1 to start with. Maybe 2 if you're really ambitious. Okay, thank you. I'm sweating. Couldn't tell if it was just me. Okay, first one would be exercise. I'm going to add a side note to that very few people can sustain consistent exercise on your own. Like, I'm going to get up at my house and I'm going to do a video. No, you're not. No, you're not. You know, I'm going to walk on the treadmill one day. I mean, you're not. I'm going to go to the gym all by myself and work out all by myself for 6 months. No, you're not. And if you do, you're going to hate it. It's horrible, okay? So stop trying and find some accountability. Find a friend to walk with. Find a class to join that you can go to. But make it be like in community or you will never do it, especially if you have a lot of I in your personality. Lord have mercy, you're not doing it alone. I mean, my gosh, it's got to be fun or you're not doing it, okay? The second one is food. Have to be like crazy food, you know, whatever. But is there food in your home that is life-giving? And is there food prepared for meals? Or is everything last-minute junk you're just grabbing at the last minute? But are you actually planning ahead for food? I took the month off of July for food prep. I'm done. Y'all can figure it out. Ryan, please do whatever you're going to do because I'm out. So I did that. And then it was just terrible. Like at the last minute, he's throwing stuff together. Everybody's starving. So then I'm eating chips and salsa because I'm starving. And then, you know, I'm just whatever. It was brutal. So yesterday I'm like, okay, I'm going to the grocery store. I'm making a meal plan. I bought all the food. I've got the recipe. Like you just got to think ahead about food. It's something that you have to stay on top of. Okay. The third one, sleep. For most people, it's going to bed early enough. It's not getting up early that's the problem, right? Because you can get up early if you go to bed early, but you have to go to bed early to get up early. Or go to bed late and sleep in late, Jenny, if you want to. She hates mornings. It's okay. The next one, are you literally washing your face at night and washing it in the morning and putting makeup on every day? Like just caring for your face. This sounds so silly because you're a Mary Kay consultant, but you only get one skin. And you really, truly, I mean, if you aren't wearing makeup, I'm like, well, even a little, you gotta have something on. You've got to wear our products. Now, you don't have to do crazy, but I'm like, more than the actual product, but the message of I'm worth it. I want to look my best for people. I feel great. You're not doing it for other people. You're like doing it for yourself, right? So I never understood like when teachers said, well, I just teach little kids, so why would I care what I look like? I'm like, I'm not doing it for the little kids. I'm doing it for me. Like, so I'm bringing my best self every day because no one looks better without makeup. Right? I mean, I've seen before and afters. I've never seen one where I thought, oh, she looks way better without the makeup on. So anyhow, okay, next one. And this one, don't you ever tell me you haven't done this or I will literally be on you until you wish you wouldn't have told me. Doctor's appointments on a regular basis. Your eyes, your teeth, your gynecologist, getting an annual skin check for your moles, a mammogram. I am not kidding. If you tell me you haven't been to the gynecologist, I one time texted my friend for 18 months every day until she went. Like, go to the doctor. No, you don't like it. No, it's not comfortable. Yes, it's an inconvenience, but it is an act of self-care. And it will save your life, Jenny West, won't it? Yes, it will save your life. And if you aren't going, you're basically saying, I don't care if I live. And that is not okay with me. I am fierce about that. So get yourself a doctor's appointment today if you haven't gone. Okay. The next one would be just like hair, nails, all those kinds of appointments. Do you have like regular appointments? You leave your hairstylist and you make the next appointment. Debbie would love you if you did that, right? Like you just make the next appointment when you're there so you aren't like frantic and then it's 3 weeks too late and you wish you would have done it. No. No, make the next appointment, right? Just that kind of self-care, okay? Next, this would be for people with children, consistent and adequate childcare, meaning not your mom or your mother-in-law, but like someone that you pay. If you're really, you have to have a list of those people so that you're not ever trapped. I always thought that to myself, I'm not trapped. I always can go do something. I always have a resource. I always have a way, but having lots of awesome resources for that. And then I would just say for leaders, especially home help that is consistent and good, like someone to clean your house, do laundry, help with that kind of thing, and office help that is consistent and good. So I'm going to have you look at that list right now. I want you to circle 1 or 2, preferably 1, unless you're feeling very ambitious, but preferably 1. And I want you to pick that one area of self-leadership that needs to be addressed right away. And I want you to attack it. Like, attack it. You make the appointment first thing in the morning. You go on a gym tour tomorrow and visit all the gyms and find out all the options. You call your friend tonight and say, I need accountability. I need someone to help me with this. You set an alarm for 30 minutes before you're supposed to go to bed, and not just for the morning, so that you're getting adequate sleep. I didn't really talk about that one, but you will like absolutely become ineffective without enough sleep. There's just a limit. There's a certain number of days where you can go with less than what you need, and like you'll just start to be weird, right? And not nice, and it's not good. And it actually will make you sick in the long run. Like it will literally, your body, it will make you sick. I mean, I am serious about that. You've got to get enough sleep. And you can't just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. So what I want you to think about is any of these areas where you are not taking care of yourself, you're saying, I don't care about me. I don't love me. I'm not worth it. I'm not good enough. And I'm like, that is not true. But before you can lead people, and I know that not all of you are leading people in your Mary Kay business in terms of other consultants, but you are leading people if you're booking them to be hostesses. You're leading them if they're your customers, right? You've got to lead yourself well first, and then you can lead others. And the more you take care of yourself, the more people you will lead. It's the craziest thing. You would think I would run out of time because it takes so long to take care of me. At this point. But it doesn't. And the more I do that, the more people want to follow you because you're someone worth following. You're interesting. You're doing cool things. You have money. You have dreams. You inspire people. You're thinking about other people all the time instead of yourself. It's the most non-selfish way to live in the world, but it feels sort of contradictory because you have to be selfish first by taking care of you first. Okay? All right, so we are going to stop our recording now. That's about 45 minutes worth. Thanks you guys for popping online with me. I'm gonna tune out and I'll be back next week for more.